How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. And I'll tell you what, got surprised with some rain on Sunday. There was no rain in the forecast, Bernie. I even said on the last BBN there was no rain in the forecast, and we got surprised with it. A couple of our teams did get to finish their tournament, but the majority were rained out on Sunday, which was very disappointing. But a team that didn't get rained out was 15U Dalton, who went undefeated and won their GMB tournament, and the pitching was absolutely fantastic, Bernie. Give me your thoughts on this 15U Dalton team this weekend.
Just touching on pitching. Team ERA was 1.68 for the weekend. And Osmond, Cavan, and Underwood all go the distance with a complete game shutouts on the weekend. And yeah, they've just been dominant lately.
You know, I know we're going way back here, but I remember at the start of the season we talked about this team as having maybe the best pitching staff in Bears history. And I don't know if they've been the best Bears pitching staff in all history for the entire season, but definitely this weekend they've been a very good pitching staff. I didn't want to imply they haven't been. But best in Bears history? I think it remains to be seen. But this weekend, they certainly were the best in the Bears. A fantastic weekend for that pitching staff. There are other teams. Again, a lot of rain this weekend. But on Saturday, prior to the rain, 11U Burnsville, 13U Floyd, and 14U Floyd all were 2-0 and were in a great position to have a very good Sunday as well. Mac Floyd hit 2 home runs for 18U Floyd, and Harrison Bleibom hit a home run as well for 11U Burnsville. All right, let's move on to the big topic of the day. It is league leaders. We're looking at the statistical leaders for all the Bear categories for the fall. I've got a couple of rules here because, stats are kind of weird. We are going minimum 30 plate appearances and 10 innings pitched. And if you have a minimum of 30 plate appearances on a top team at the age, we are only considering your top team stats. We're not combining stats. If you have the plate appearance requirements on the top team, there is one exception: home runs, over-the-fence home runs. Any over-the-fence home runs you've hit, no matter what team, they are counted on here. Again, this is for the fall. And let's go ahead and start with home runs because that's the flashy stat. That's the sexy stat. It is home runs. And our home run leaderboard, Harrison Bleibom leading all Bears in home runs in the fall. He's got 6 over-the-fence home runs. Wilburn and Langakey each have 4. Parker Els, Jack Roberts, Teagan Chrytler, Andrew Bober, Mac Floyd, Chase Acker, and Brandon Nickerson all with 3. And Bernie, looking at this list, some of the best power hitters in the Bears. Give me your thoughts on our home run leaderboard for the fall.
Harrison Bleibom number 1. Nice to see coming out of youth prep. You have someone like Chase Acker down there on the top 10 list, who's been just straight grinding all summer. He's really turned into a good player. Andrew Bober has really turned up this fall. The rest of the names, I feel like, you mostly would expect your Jack Roberts, your Teagan Chrytler, your Parker Els, those guys you expect to see up here, Willerets. So, yeah. Yeah,
I would say the one name on here, Bernie, that's not necessarily, besides Acker, that's not necessarily a favorite, is Thomas Langakey, who has really showed out with the power this fall. He's got 4 home runs. It'd be nice to see if he can keep it going. All right, let's move on to our batting average leaderboards. This is for youth. We will separate our high school stats as well, so we're doing youth and high school. This is our youth batting average leaderboard for the fall. Brendan Bass leads the Bears in batting average with a .679. Right behind him, Will Thiling. Number 3, Max Brodeur. Then Harrison Bleibom, Andrew Wilburn, Logan Eckert, Ivan Saxon, Luke Warren, ZZ Garcia, and Nafri Kabarkis. And Bernie, how about the rookie Nafri getting into the top 10 in batting average? But give me your other thoughts on this list. Obviously, again, a lot of very, very good names on this list.
It's crazy that Bass is turning in like some Willeret-type summer numbers where he's batting nearly 700. That's just insane. Guys like Logan Eckert making an appearance. Ivan Saxon, guys, for 14U. And then you have guys like ZZ, who I think at the start of the summer were kind of been between Burn and Floyd. And now ZZ, you can tell, is very established now on the top team. And then, of course, you have our number 1 prospect, Nafri, making an appearance.
Yeah, a very fun list. Logan Eckert, obviously a big surprise. He's having a great season on both sides of the ball, batting and pitching. He's having a great year for that 14U Floyd team. It almost feels like Willeret's batting average is low at .558. He's hitting .558, number 5 in the Bears, and it feels like he's a little bit low right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get above 600 for the fall when it's all said and done. Let's move on to youth OPS, and once again, Brendan Bass leading the way. Maybe a little bit of chip on his shoulder, Bernie. He didn't win August MVP, certainly in the lead to win September MVP, and maybe fall MVP as well. He's got an 1862 OPS. Wilburn right behind him at 1748, and then Bleibom, Thiling, Saxon, that's Ivan Saxon, Niall Guzman, Ben Combs, Parker Els, Jack Dalton, and Nafri Kabarkis. Again, Kabarkis into the top 10. Bernie, some surprises. For me, Ivan Saxon, he's having I know we've talked about him a bit on the show. He was our all-star catcher for August. But I'll tell you what, he's having a very good season. Top 5 in OPS for the fall. Ivan Saxon may be getting slept on a little bit.
I mean, yeah, for me, I think someone that kind of flies a little on the radar. I know we talked about him a little bit, but maybe not as much as we should. It's going to be Will Filing up there in top 4. He's had an amazing fall for the 12U Floyd team. And then I told you, Jack Dalton moved down to his appropriate age, and now he's going to start moving up this leaderboard. He's going to go higher and higher.
Yeah, Jack Dalton, currently number 9, having a fantastic fall. Let's move on to Youth RBI. These are our RBI leaders for the Youth Bears, and Parker Ells leading the way with 32, then Will Thiling with 31, and then we've got a big drop-off to Diego Buccio at 23. I think that goes to show how the top 2 have been absolutely hammering in those runs, Ells and Thiling. Number 4, Jordan Waring, then Brendan Bast, Evan Lancaster 6, Lucas Velchek 7, Landon Meyer 8, Nafri Kabarkis 9, and Judd Levy is number 10. Bernie, got the big boys at the top. Any surprises on here for you?
I mean, I got Will Filing in top 2 again, like I just said. I think he flies on the radar a little bit. Diego Buccio on the 12U Floyd team has been absolutely mashing. And then you have guys like Evan and Velchek, who I think when we do talk about them, for the most part, it's about their pitching. But they've obviously had great offensive falls so far.
Yeah, both of them driving in 20 and 19 runs respectively. They're both having very good falls, kind of under the radar with their bats. Let's move on to our last offensive category for youth, and it is doubles. And we've got a tie at the top, Brendan Bast, Harrison Bleibom, both with 13 doubles. Absolutely fantastic from those two. And then you got Diego Buccio with 9, Nafri Kabarkis coming in with 8, Parker Ells, Zizi Garcia, Judd Levy, Jordan Waring, Harrison Glass, and Sully Lydon to round out the top 10. Bernie, 13, that is 4 more than third place for Bleibom and Bast. Nafri Kabarkis in with 8. Doubles one of my favorite stats because I know, home runs can kind of be fluky a little bit. Home runs sometimes it depends on the field you're playing on. A lot of things go into home runs, but doubles is such a solid stat for me. And some of the best hitters in the Bears. Any thoughts here with this doubles list?
The only thing I'd really add to this is that rookie Harrison Glass makes an appearance at number 9 with 4 doubles.
Yeah, he's having a very good season. When I was making this, Bernie, Harrison Glass was like 12th in both batting average and OPS, so he's right off the top 10. He's having a very good fall. Let's move into our youth pitching categories, starting with innings pitched. We talk about this category a lot, and I feel like it's not a flashy category, but innings pitched in youth baseball is huge because, those are the guys you rely on. A lot of youth baseball is about how many innings can you get out of your top guys. It's about being efficient because everybody's on a pitch count, and it's about trust from the coaching staff. So I think innings pitched is a huge category, and at the top is Jaden Highland with 28.2 innings, then Brendan Bass, Jordan Waring, and Caden Inman. How about 4 12U Floyd players in the top 4? Now, a lot of it, they've been playing so well, they've played a lot of games, but I think it goes to show you how many strikes that team is throwing. So all 12U Floyd in the top 4. Reed Carlson, number 5, Lucas Wilburn, Quinn Steinbeck, Logan Eckert, Andrew Driscoll, and Owen Lewis to round out the top 10. Bernie, I told you I love innings pitch, and these are some of the best pitchers in the Bears right here.
Like you said, Jade Highland's over almost 5 innings ahead of anybody else at 12, which is just insane. Lucas Wilburn, who moved from that Bell to Floyd team, and he's really dug in and taken a lot of innings from some guys, and he's been great so far. Logan Eckert makes an appearance. Talk about his hitting a little bit. He's had a great pitching season as well. And, yeah, that's about all I got.
Logan Eckert did make an appearance on innings pitched, and he's also going to make an appearance on ERA because Logan Eckert currently leads all youth Bears in ERA, a 1.87, an absolutely fantastic season for Logan Eckert. Number 2 is Lucas Wilburn that you just mentioned. He's got a 2.42. Following him, Caden Inman, number 3, Bass 4, Brodeur 5, Quinn Steinbeck 6, Jaden Highland 7, Jack Dalton 8, Jordan Waring 9, and Andrew Driscoll coming in at 10. And Bernie, I got to go to Lucas Wilburn. You talked about him with the innings pitched. He comes up, and honestly, as the coach at 13 Floyd, I didn't know what he was going to be with us on the mound. I didn't know if he was going to be kind of that garbage time pitcher. I knew he was a great strike thrower, but I was very surprised with how good his off-speed was and how he's been able to just shut down any team I've put him up there. He's been fantastic. Any other thoughts for you, Bernie, on this list?
Just Caden Inman. I like those guys kind of fly under the radar a little bit, and they have guys like 12 Floyd. They have Jaden Highland. They have Brendan Bast. They have Jordan. They have the top level guys. But Caden Inman comes in here making an appearance at 3rd on the ERA list.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic season for him. All 4 of those 12U Floyd guys that we just mentioned in the top 10 in ERA. That pitching staff has been unbelievable all season long, but especially in the fall. All right, let's get into our last youth category. It is going to be strikeouts. Jaden Highland at the top, tied with Jordan Waring with 23. Then comes Reed Carlson, CJ Justice, Caden Inman, Evan Lancaster, Quinn Steinbeck, Andrew Driscoll, Jack Dalton, and Owen Lewis rounding out the top 10. And Bernie, a name that has been very good for your 11U Burnsville squad is CJ Justice. He may be the hardest thrower at that age, coming in at 4th in youth strikeouts.
No, not much to add to it. A lot of these guys we've seen in other categories already, like Jaden and Jordan are at the top. That's not much to add there.
I will say an interesting thing on CJ, he was not in our top 10 in innings, but he is in strikeouts. That just tells you how dominant he's been in the innings he has pitched. But let's move on to our high school categories. These is 15U and above, starting with batting average, and Oliver Saxon leading the way with a 525 batting average, leads all high school players. Chase Acker hitting 500 is second. Fred Smith third. Ty Zazaway to fourth. Brennan Nickerson, 5th. Andrew Bober 6th. Lucas Levy 7th. Elliot Myers is 8th. Jack Roberts is 9th. And Steven Shikas is 10th. Tell you what, Bernie, I kind of stumbled through that because we got a lot of siblings on this list, so I'm just trying to get my head around which sibling is which. But how about the Saxons, man? Ivan was high up in every ranking. Ollie, number 1 in batting average. The Saxons have low-key been one of the best brother duos in the Bears so far this fall. But any other thoughts on this top 10, Bern?
It's neat that Steven Shikas having a great fall for that Jackson squad and making an appearance here. And then again, like I said earlier, Chase Acker continues to be a great high school hitter.
Yeah, Ty's has a weight to coming in at 4th. He's having a fantastic fall. But, yeah, a lot of these guys we've talked about a lot. Yeah, not much more to add there. Let's go to OPS. And Chase Acker is going to be at the top of the list here. A 1586 OPS. Been an absolute monster. Getting on base a ton and obviously hitting for power as well. Andrew Bober comes in at 2nd. Brennan Nickerson 3rd. Caleb Kalmizi in 4th. Teagan Chrytler in 5th. Jack Roberts in 6th. Ty Zazaweta, then Oliver Saxon, Vince Dalton, and Elliot Myers to round out the top 10. And again, Bernie, a lot of these guys we've talked about. One guy we haven't talked about maybe since the first 2 weekends is Caleb Kalmizi, who comes in at 4th. I know he's been good for your 16U Burnsville squad.
I mean, not only much to add about any certain player exactly, but I think if you're going into the fall, I mean, no offense to anybody here, but no one's picking Acker and Boberty 1 and 2. No one is. But they have been absolutely amazing this fall. They're having great seasons.
Yeah, they absolutely are. We'll see if they can keep it up. But, we talked about they were both at the top of the list in August. And we're already a couple weeks into September, and they're still at the top of the list. So that tells you how good they've been. All right, let's move on to RBI. It is Ty Zazaweta leading the way in RBI. He's got 27. Jack Roberts is 2nd with 22. Then Langaki also has 22. He's tied for 2nd. Past that, we got Jackson Weiss, Jackson Dormeyer, Chase Acker, Ian Lancaster, Vince Dalton, Teagan Chrytler, and Mac Floyd. We actually have a big tie for 10th. Mac Floyd, Andrew Bober, Lucas Levy, and Tyler Hall all tied with 13 for 10th. But Bernie, some surprises here. Definitely Jackson Weiss going up there, another Jackson guy. He is top 4 in RBI. He's been the big run producer for that 15U Jackson squad. But any other thoughts here, Bernie?
I would just hit on Ty a little bit. I mean, he's first by 5 RBIs. He's been massive for that Dalton squad. He's been a big bat for that lineup.
Yeah, he's been fantastic this fall. Let's move on to doubles, and this is everybody with 4 doubles or more for our high school guys. Teagan Chrytler, Vince Dalton, Alex Hobson each have 6, and then Vince DiPiazza, Ian Lancaster, Mac Floyd, Jackson Dormeyer, and Ty Zazaweta each with 4. Again, Bernie, how about Vince DiPiazza, another guy we haven't really talked about. He coming in with the doubles. He's got 4. I like this category a lot. Jackson Dormeyer has had a very good fall as well. Any other thoughts here, Bernie, on the doubles category?
No, like you said, Vince had a great fall. I mean, other than that, these are all names that I would expect to see here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move into our high school pitching categories. And a guy that we harped on all summer long that he would be a Cy Young candidate if he threw more innings. Well, guess who leads in the Bears in innings this fall? For our high school players, it's Teagan Chrytler, obviously our August Cy Young. He's been fantastic and leads the Bears in innings. In second is Rocky Tucker. Number 3, Elijah Underwood. Mac Floyd coming in 4th. Alex Hobson in 5th. And then you have Evan Osborne, Elliot Myers, Hunter Lotzbeck comes into the top 10. Brady Heck and Noah Rolfing to round out the top 10. Bernie, thoughts here? The big one that jumps out to me, Mac Floyd, obviously known for his bat as an MVP candidate, coming in at 4th in innings pitched. Him and Teagan kind of in the same boat there. 2 huge bats who are really doing it on the mound as well. But any other thoughts?
I'll give some love to my 16U player, Rocky Tucker. He really struggled during the summer, but this fall he's came out. He's been arguably the best arm on the team so far this fall.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. A guy that we really hyped in the summer and is starting to live up to it here this fall. Other than that, Noah Rolfing, Hunter Lotzbeck, they've both had very good falls as well. And let's move on to ERA. And once again, Teagan Chrytler leads the way, a 0.84. Number 2, Brody Kveton coming in with 1.24. Say what you want about the teams he's faced. I know he faced against the weaker teams, but what can you do against weaker teams other than shut them down? Brody Kveton's been absolutely fantastic for that Dalton squad. Mac Floyd coming in 3rd, Sam Wortham 4th, Evan Osborne 5th, Elijah Underwood 6th, Elliot Myers 7th, Eric Mao coming in 8th, Rocky Tucker 9th, and Will Brotherton sneaks into the top 10 at 10th. Bernie, a lot of these names we've talked about as being big arms. A couple of them, surprises like Kveton, like Eric Mao. But any thoughts on this ERA list?
No, Will Brotherton makes an appearance. Good to see. And then Sam Wortham, who I think is a very underrated arm, comes in at number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Mac Floyd, number 3 in ERA as well. The top ERA for the 18U Floyd team. He's had a great season on the mound. And Will Brotherton, he's, once again, a guy who's coming in and clean up spots and has been able to have a respectable ERA. Our final category for stat leaders is going to be strikeouts, and Mac Floyd leads the way. He's got 27 strikeouts. Evan Osborne in 2nd. Teagan Chrytler in 3rd. Eric Mao tied for 3rd. He's got 24 as well. Alex Hobson, Elijah Underwood, Lucas Levy, Elliot Myers, Sam Dollins coming in with 19, and Will Brotherton with 17. Bernie, one hops out to me, Sam Dollins. He's a guy that there was a stretch in the summer where we really hyped him as a pitcher, but I think he's really coming into his own right now. 19 strikeouts for him. Eric Mao's had, we've talked about him as being a very solid arm. He's had a very good fall. But other than that, Bernie, any other thoughts for this strikeout list?
No, Will Brotherton makes another appearance in the top 10.
Yeah, how about that?
And then I think if you would have said in the summer Elijah would have been on here, I think some people might have doubted you, but I think now Elijah's in a spot where you expect him to be on this list.
Yeah, Elijah Underwood maybe even could climb a couple spots toward the end of the year, but he's been kind of the story of the end of the summer into the fall, really turning into one of the best pitchers in the Bears. But Evan Osborne, he's obviously we hyped him a lot in the summer. Did he end up winning? No, he didn't win Cy Young. He was second place in Cy Young in the summer. He was our second runner-up, or he was our runner-up in the summer for Cy Young. And we haven't really talked about him in the fall, but you hear he's on every one of these leaderboards. He's having a very good fall on the mound just because we haven't talked about him. He had that complete game shutout this weekend. But again, for Evan Osborne, 6th in innings pitched, 5 in ERA, and 2nd in strikeouts. You can't do much better than that. He's been absolutely fantastic. I guess kind of getting overhyped by Teagan a little bit because he's no longer the ace of that staff. And obviously Elijah Underwood, his rise as well. That just goes to show you how great this Dalton pitching staff has been. But these are our league leaders for the fall so far. It's going to be fun to revisit this at the end of the season to see who rose up, who dropped down, who got into the top 10 that wasn't in there. It's going to be a lot of fun to revisit. But these are some of the best players in the Bears right here. The top 10 list for every single stat. This is one of those things, Bernie, one of those segments where we don't choose the players who get on it. These players earn it. It's just who does the best gets to be in this top 10 segment. There's a lot of segments that are me and Bernie's opinion. This segment is strictly what happens on the field, so it's a segment I like a lot. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. Hopefully, no jinxes, Bernie. I checked before the episode we recorded. No rain in the forecast. Should get a full weekend in, and it should be a lot of fun. Go out and check out these league leaders. Watch them play with your own eyes. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to y'all next week.